Welcome to the Fourth Step Podcast. On each episode, we interview recovering addicts and learn their story with addiction. Through exploring personal journeys, we get a glimpse of the depths addicts fall to and their path in recovery. We hope you enjoy the episode. Welcome to the Fourth Step Podcast. My name is Kevin, and I am an addict, and with me is my co-host,
Josh, addict.
And our guest today is...
I'm Tommy, and I'm an addict.
Hi, Tommy. So we appreciate you coming out today. It's kind of cool. I understand you have a clothing line that's kind of centered around recovery. Is that right? A little bit.
A little bit. I had a sober living at one time, or a bunch of them, and we were getting a lot of lifers out of prison that were unfunded, and we kind of decided that if maybe we could get a clothing company to blow up, we could get these guys to work, and we wouldn't need any funding from anybody, and then we could pick and choose who we wanted.
Yeah, is that still going today?
The clothing company's still going, but the sober livings are not. And now it's more. It had morphed into a bunch of other stuff, like people in the program were like, "Hey, my company needs shirts."
Oh, nice.
And so now 90% of our business is screen printing for somebody else.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, another guy bought me a screen print. He actually bought out a print shop. I think he paid $6,500. Well, wait, he gave me some money, said print some shirts. We told him what we wanted to do. We sold 100 shirts. We had a race car people, because we were involved with racing, had him print some shirts. We sold them in like 2 weeks, and he's like, so we go get another 100 shirts, and we sold those in like a week. And then he's like, here's some more money. And then we bought, it just snowballed.
Yeah. If you wanted to, you can plug that now. We don't care.
Well, it's Konnected. Konnectedapparel.com is one way you can get a hold of me.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That works. Right on.
When you said something about getting who you want, being picky about who you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah. So if you take funding, you take who they send you.
Yeah, state funding or whatever.
Any of the funding.
Yeah.
You have to take who they got. You don't want to take one of the guys they want to send you, then you don't get that money anymore. And
yeah.
The best way to get guys that you think are going to make it, or guys that just don't have funding, is to pick and choose. And our success rate was pretty high behind not having to just take every guy they sent us, and that meant we didn't have to take guys with weird crimes and stuff like that.
Cool. So let's get down to you. When was the first time loaded, and what did you use?
So I'm pretty sure, like, my mom was a hippie, so we used to, run the joint back and forth to everybody when we were kids. And the first time I can really remember using was at a sprint car race when I was a kid. Actually, they weren't even sprint cars back then; they were super modifieds. But I always had kind of ran with some older kids at the racetrack, and we smoked some weed. And I remember I was under the bleachers puking up pink popcorn because, I was a little kid, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my mom knew exactly what was wrong, you know what I mean? And,
how old were you?
6, maybe.
6?
Yeah, young.
6 years old and you're smoking pot?
Yeah, young. I mean, I'm eating pink popcorn, you know what I mean? It was in the 70s for sure, because that racetrack, I think, closed in maybe 79.
How old are you?
I'm born in 69, so
okay.
Somewhere in between 10 and there. Yeah, I didn't like it. To be honest with you, I never really liked smoking weed, even though I did it regularly.
Same. Yeah, me too. Yeah, it just wasn't that type of high that I liked.
No.
And so do you know what led you up to that? Just hanging out with the kids?
Yeah, just being cool, wanting to fit in.
Yeah.
Yeah, hanging out with kids that are older than me. And it was normal back then. Everybody, my mom was, I wouldn't call her hippie, but she was she smoked weed her whole life, still to this day.
Yeah.
She's a functioning weed smoker. She'll go out there and roll a joint and start gardening, and She's got a garden in the front yard, garden in the backyard. You know what I mean? She's 70-something years old.
Some people can do it.
Some people can do it. I was not one of those.
No.
I hit a joint. Next thing you know, I'm melted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was, back then it was, most people her age were smoking it. It was what they did,
Yeah.
They kept me level. I smoked a lot.
Did you?
Yeah, it was like the baseline. Like I had to have that, and then like everything else. But it was so abundant where I was at that like it was just always there.
Yeah.
And then everything else I wanted that too. But weed was just like no matter what, I had that every day.
Did you smoke pot and realize that it changed the way you felt?
I don't think that was it at all. Not
at 6.
No, I really didn't even like it. I just hit it because they were doing it.
Yeah.
But I took crosstops when we lived by Gibson Ranch.
What's a crosstop?
It's an upper.
Got it. Okay.
And I remembered I was 9 because I was lying and telling everybody I was 10 the whole time I lived there in that house. So I was 9 when I ate crosstops, and it was with the same kid because my mom and his dad was a race car driver, so my uncle was a race car driver, so we were kind of connected like that.
Yeah.
And then he had an older sister that was my aunt's best friend. So we were regularly together, and he was at my house, and my mom had crosstops in the little wood box that the
stash box.
The little stash box, and I didn't know what they were, but he did. And he
How much older was he?
a couple years. He's
Okay.
still friends. I'm still friends with him today. He was in the program for a long time. But he said, let's take these, and we did. And I should have known then I was in love with that stuff, with anything that went the other direction. I don't think, I had a blast. We ran around in the Gibson Ranch, which is, it's an outdoor thing that has horses, and we lived back to back with it. So
That's
it's
cool.
kind of like my stomping grounds. But that was the first time I remember using something that made me feel the way I planned the rest of my life.
Right.
Ended
That
up
changed the way you
consuming
felt,
it.
and you liked that
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah, this is what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember a time where you connected getting loaded to change the way you felt to not wanting to feel a certain way, like fear or shame or guilt?
No, and I don't think that really ever happened to me.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was more of, so I never really tried to stop. I kind of thought for a very long time I was doing exactly what I wanted to do.
Yes.
That
me
sounds
too.
like what you say, Josh.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, consequences. There wasn't a lot of consequences. So and I drank a lot when I was younger, but I didn't drink after I think I got a DUI when I was 19 or 20. I never touched alcohol again after that. I just didn't like anything that didn't keep me going in the right direction. You know what I mean? Alcohol, weed, any of that. I would smoke weed pretty regularly, even though I didn't really like it.
But you wanted to be in control.
Yeah, I did.
You didn't want to be nodding out.
No, I did not like not be, because it had, even at an early age, there was a whole hustle involved with it that I was addicted to too.
Yeah. Dude, I could totally relate. That's my story.
Means and ways to get more.
Yeah, and just the whole lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever have like shame and guilt growing up?
No, like there was sexual stuff when I was young, but I don't think that stuff was more with kids my own age.
Yeah.
And I don't think I really, that was like some amends that I ended up having to make, but they were all made with, we were all just doing it. You know what I mean? It wasn't really like an adult doing it.
So there was no like trauma.
No.
Was there any other trauma growing up?
No, my mom and dad split up, and I was raised with a single mom. My dad never showed up when he said, all that kind of stuff. Normal broken home, you know what I mean?
So that's just kind of like typical abandonment issues.
Yeah, I don't think there was any real trauma because I had, my dad was not a very great participant when we were young, but I had a grandmother that came through like a champ. So I had...
Don't they always?
I had people, that took care of me. And my mom did well,
I spent a lot of time with my grandparents too.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma was number one to me.
Yeah.
You know, even when my mom would get tired of my crap, my grandma, I was still grandma's. I was the firstborn grandchild. So
Yeah, that's interesting.
Grandma loved
There's something that the psychologists will say is that when you don't get the love and nourishment immediately from your internal home, that you go to the next circle outside.
Yeah.
You find somebody that you can like connect with.
yeah, and me and grandma were tight like that. We like the
Yeah.
same baseball team.
It sounds
You know,
exactly
same
like
football team for a long time.
You guys shared interests and
Yeah.
spent a lot of time together.
And we would joke around, and the way we would joke around, there would be times she would say stuff, you know, because when I would kind of get my stuff together once in a while, I'd call her and go to her, you know what I mean? And so there would be stuff she was like, oh, I was talking smack with my sister, like we would be, and my sister looked at me like she was a racist. We were, you know, just a little joking stuff that you say to, like your homies. And my grandma was like that with us, you know what I mean? She took us everywhere. It didn't matter if my mom was mad at us or not, you know? So I had a really good support.
She was your friend.
Yeah, she was a homie, yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep. Did you ever feel like getting loaded was something that was causing you consequences?
Oh, I knew, yeah, I knew that.
What was the first consequence you had? Do you remember?
I mean, I wasn't allowed to come home at 15, you know?
That was it?
I
15, you're out?
I was on my own, yeah. And then she would, you know, feel bad about it and bring me back. And then,
Grandma?
no, mom.
Your mom.
I wasn't allowed to go. Grandma didn't cross those lines, you know?
If you got kicked out of mom's house, you couldn't just go hang out at grandma's?
Not while I was underage.
Yeah.
If I was over 18, then it was different.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how it happened. But no, she, one time grandma bleached my tail blonde when she had
Your
us.
tail, like you had like a rat tail?
Yeah. She
Okay.
bleached it blonde.
Okay.
And my mother flipped out. You know what I mean? And so there was a line that even grandma didn't cross after that. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
As when I was, you know.
What's a
younger.
rat tail?
It's just a long little white
Piece of hair.
kind of like a white trash.
The back? Yeah.
Yeah, like a Rio Linda
But
fucking
like
mullet.
Oh, okay.
Just a
All right.
piece of
Yeah.
hair about that big around that hang around. You'd have short hair everywhere except the tail.
That sounds like a cool haircut
Yeah, it was. I thought it was.
back in the day.
I had a mullet when I was a
I
kid.
ran the mullet from the whole 80s and
Yeah.
early 90s.
I got some pictures as a kid in the playground. Long red-haired mullet, just looks like I hadn't had a haircut in I don't know how long, but it was a very intentional mullet they gave me.
I'm sad to say I had a mullet also.
Yeah.
Please don't hold that against
I
me.
was going to try to grow it back, but it's a little too late.
Not enough hair there.
Nope.
So, do you have like consequences from your past that you're living with today? You know, like you and I talked about, you were incarcerated. Does that any of that consequences affect?
No, it's actually the way my life has went. It has turned out to be a huge bonus
Yeah,
because it gave me legitimacy in a business. Well, it gave me legitimacy and love and a certain amount of respect from people that come from the same place that I came from and couldn't stay clean and then wanted to get clean. And then
right. So you turned your consequences into an asset,
Absolutely.
and you set a good example.
Absolutely.
That's
like-
pretty powerful.
That's like the best we can all hope to do, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm blessed like that. I
Yeah.
really, 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 you know, and I'm not an angel at all.
Sure.
I mean, 'cause I make some
I don't think
big-
any of us
I
are
make
if we're
some-
here.
Bro, I make some big mistakes fast.
Yeah.
Recently, you know, and I got behavior problems still to this day. You know what I mean? But I never, even as a kid, like I told a story when I chair meetings about, I never cared about anything that was going to happen to me for something I did my entire life
I can
Yeah.
relate. I can relate to that.
from beginning. Like I talked my cousin into hiding in the dryer during hide and go seek, and then turn it on when he got in there, knowing I'm going to get in trouble. You know what I mean? But just never cared. Got my brother to get on my dad's motorcycle and knocked it over on him. My mom couldn't even get it off him. You know what I mean? It's a Honda 750 from the 70s. You know what I mean?
Big old bulky thing.
Knew
Yeah.
I was going to get in trouble, didn't care. You know, my brother's probably the biggest sufferer from my behavior problems.
You ever go back and make amends to your brother?
Yeah, I made a mistake.
Hell yeah.
He needs to make them nowadays, though.
That's the one that you shoved in a dryer.
No, that was my cousin.
You make amends to him.
I don't know if I ever really did.
Is he still around?
Yeah, I see him. I see him.
good.
He's a great guy.
So you got time.
I got time. Yeah, he's not dead yet.
Yeah.
What were you said something about I would guess I would call them defects of character or shortcomings showing up today. What one stands out the most?
That a lot of times I'll solve any problem with violence fast.
Still today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's one I have to keep checking. Forrest,
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to drop names, but my boy is on me about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I still want to fight,
Yeah.
and I'm way too old to be doing that.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you know do you know what's going on behind that?
I don't. It's just the way I've always done it.
Yeah.
It's just the way. It's just a horrible habit, and it's not like it happens regularly anymore.
Right.
But my fuse will get lit quick.
But you don't want to, though?
No, I definitely don't want to do that. I do not want to be.
So there's got to be a change in there somewhere.
Yeah, no, and for the most part, I am. But,
Yeah, that's cool.
But
It shows up for me too, and I got a lot of work to do in that area. I mean, it shows up for me in traffic.
yeah,
In traffic, I'll still jump out of the car.
Yeah.
I'm still a liability if I get
yeah,
pushed the wrong way or I feel overwhelmed and somebody cuts me off or somebody does something that could have caused a wreck for someone. Like,
Yeah.
I'll still lose it.
yeah,
That character defect I had to deal with as well, because I was also one to snap. The work that I did was around false pride and ego.
no, for sure, ego, 100%.
That's
ego.
what killed me.
You think that's
every
what it
single
is?
time.
Ego for you? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Every single time, yeah. Somebody took my pride or disrespected me, or even my 6-year-old son when he was little, he would say something sassy to me, and I go, what the hell
Yeah.
what did you just say?
Yeah, recklessly eyeballing.
I'm telling a 6-year-old
Yeah.
that he can't talk to me like that.
Fuck you looking at?
My wife goes, "What does that even mean? Recklessly eyeball you?" I go, "He just recklessly eyeballed me. Looked at me hella aggressive."
Yeah.
She goes, "I don't even know what that means."
You get offended by how somebody looks at you? You get mean mugged?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Probably a direct reflection of just how your day's going and where your headspace is. I mean, that's what it is for me. I can't even isolate, like, if ego's tied into it. Some days I'm worn out more than others, and I'm liable to lose it quicker than others. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's, most of the time whenever I do something, it's, I'm embarrassed instantly by it.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often anymore. Yeah, I will say that. I mean, it's been a few times over the years, but being clean as long as I have, you're not supposed to be doing that stuff. You're supposed to be.
Yeah. You know what's cool about what you
example.
just said is that you feel that shame about it when it happens.
Instant regret.
So that's perfect, because that's you being in connection with your conscience.
Yeah, I used to not. Yeah, I could live with all that. I used to be able to. But
Right? But not anymore?
No.
Yeah. That's really cool, because it just shows that you're doing the work.
Well, if I could, a couple minutes before that, stop it, it would be way better. But
Yeah.
sometimes.
Well, that's where you keep doing the work. So tell us about one of your biggest fears in early recovery.
To be honest, I think my biggest fear was that I just couldn't stay clean.
Like fear of failure?
Yeah, fear of failure.
It's common.
Yeah.
Very common.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was pretty lucky to have ran into a guy that I had known from getting loaded early.
Yeah?
That I knew what kind of junkie he was, and I tell this story too in meetings a lot. It's like I never liked him. I'd known him since we were kids, like elementary school. We went together, and junior high, high school. I got loaded with him. I did time with him.
And you've never liked him?
I never really liked him. He just wasn't my flavor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He stole my stolen credit card one time, so I told people
He
he's
stole your stolen credit
he's a
card.
real dirtbag, not just a regular one. You know what I mean?
Extra
dirtbag. So,
Yeah, there's layers.
But he was in one of my first meetings that I had went to, and gave me a big old hug and said, "Welcome. I've been here a few years, And
Wow.
And so I grabbed on his belt loop and went everywhere he went, did everything he did. He's still clean.
Really?
Still don't like him?
I mean, he's all right. I married his girlfriend, but that's another story.
Well,
No, I'd be forever grateful to do, really, because
Yeah.
for the first time in my entire life, I thought maybe I can stay clean.
yeah.
I had that. We got Ross is coming on here Thursday next week, and I share that same experience with him. I used to get loaded with him, and I was fresh out, and I came into a meeting, and I was
Fresh out.
fresh out of prison, and I had gotten loaded, and my girlfriend was like, I'm taking you to a meeting. And I hadn't really been to too many meetings, and I walked in and I saw Ross. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And like he looked like he was actually clean.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, but it was like, oh, if that motherfucker can do it,
Yeah.
if he can do it, I mean, it's maybe, it was just enough. It was just enough to keep me in the meeting, and then just enough to make me pay attention, and then see the similarities, and then the chain of events or whatever. And here I am. But yeah, it's powerful.
You never know. You never know who you're gonna get the message from.
For
Maybe
sure,
somebody you
yeah.
don't even like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Ross, but I
love Ross.
Yeah, for sure.
And I joke about not liking the guy, but I do like him.
Yeah.
I mean, he drugged me around, man. He gave me my first little.
He got you clean.
He gave me his actual girlfriend at that time ended up being a pretty good friend of mine at the end. Like one of the very first people that opened up their house to me. I wasn't trusted. I wasn't that dude that people were leaving at their house. You know what I mean?
So that was pretty heavy. Did that play a big impact on you?
Yeah, for sure. And she passed away of cancer.
Hummer.
Yeah, but it was, I'll be forever grateful to her too.
Speaking of leaving you in somebody's house, I got a buddy that says he left his war medals with you when he went out.
Yeah,
he went out on a little bender and specifically left them with you and came back to get them.
Well, he left them at the SLE.
Sure,
and
yeah.
I normally don't do it, but because of what it was,
Yeah.
I went and got them and kept them.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
He talks about it still today.
Yeah, because I didn't want, I can't, if I stored every dude that left the SLE
Sure.
stuff, I'd need 27 things, but that was a little different to me anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was it, Purple Heart,
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got some class.
I don't know where I got it.
Yeah. So, what about resentment? Did you carry resentments for a long time, or you still do?
So I got really good, man. So I got really good at accepting stuff for what it was. And maybe that's even a character defect at some point in time where I just go, it is what it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
That's in recovery, huh?
That's in recovery.
What about when you're getting loaded? Was there something that drove you, this dude or her or?
Bro, I was always looking for an excuse.
Yeah.
To do something.
I blame the police a lot.
Well, I didn't much blame them. I was the guy that when they got there, when it was time to get there, I didn't go take off running. I was already probably needed a nap and a sandwich anyway.
Yeah.
But people, I was just hoping you would give me a reason to rob,
flare up or
steal
whatever.
from
I
me.
did the same
rob
way.
from me. You know what I mean?
Any kind of wiggle room for justification to
Where I
make
could
you a
take it.
target.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's justified. I can figure out a way to make myself feel completely okay about whatever I want to do.
And the funny thing is, I didn't do it with guys that were real gangsters because I always kept them as tight friends, right? So I'm really a shot picker if I really take a look at it.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was too.
And actually, I got a little more, brave with that stuff because you eventually run out. And the only kind of people that want to be around you are guys that are doing the same thing you're doing.
Less options, yeah.
Yeah. So.
That's one resentment is other people. What about institutions and stuff? Judges, the law.
No, I never really blamed them. I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I knew what I was doing, and I signed up for everything I got, even while it was happening. I knew, there was one little incident where, I never bailed out before my entire life. And I've been getting arrested since I was, an adult, barely became an adult my first case. But for some reason, my mom bailed me out in Sutter County, which isn't where I was from, and It was only like a $300 bail. Or no, I got OR'd. It wasn't even bail. I got OR'd. And I came back to court and I was wearing, I don't wear pants. I only owned shorts my whole life. I've never wore pants. But I had a matching like jean button-up shirt and my jean shorts. And they remanded me to custody for wearing shorts in this courtroom.
Oh, wow.
And I remember I was furious. I had a huge resentment for a long time over that because I showed up to court. I never showed up to court my whole life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you doing what was asked of you.
Yeah. And then I had shorts on. I was just like, I didn't even know that was a thing. That's what I get for showing up to court.
Yeah.
I knew I shouldn't have showed up.
Yeah, I knew. Fuck you guys. I knew it.
I knew it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Society was. If I didn't have something, it was society was the enemy. I just made.
Oh yeah, for you.
Everybody, yeah.
The resentment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hard for me because I resented people that caused me harm.
Yeah.
And it was really, really hard when I got to like having to make amends. Yeah. Because like eventually we realized that we caused harm. We were involved in that as well.
Yeah, and I think I had a resentment against my first child's mother, but I was way out of my league with her anyway. How
many kids do you have?
Well, there's 3 possibles. But
3 possibles?
Yeah. First one was a stripper, and then I had slept with another girl on the way to the stripper's house.
They both had a kid?
They both had a kid. 4 months apart. The second kid I thought was my homeboy's kid. The one I slept with on the way there, I thought was my homeboy's kid my whole life because that was his girlfriend after that.
Yeah.
And then they had this kid, and so I see the kid. It wasn't until he was 15 years old. She goes, "Hey, he's yours." I go, "What do you mean he's mine?" I mean, you couldn't tell me that.
15 years later?
Yeah, you couldn't tell me that earlier. Well, I mean.
So how long ago was that conversation?
He's probably 28 now.
Okay, so you had been out a few years.
Yeah. And then the other one is...
So that one is for sure yours?
No, they're both...
That's the maybe?
The first 2 are maybes, really.
Okay.
The last one, there's my daughter. She's a female version of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then she got took. All 3 of them got took,
Yeah.
Different times. But the first one, I was way out of my league with the caliber of girl anyway. Plus, I was a spoiled brat that was used to getting... And at the time, I was balling. So I was really used to getting whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted to get it.
What were you? This is before you got clean, correct?
Oh yeah.
When you say you were balling, what did that look like?
I ripped somebody off with a lot.
Okay.
Of stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't run out for like a year and a half. Ever.
Yeah. You were set.
I had whatever I wanted.
That is a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was.
It's a good lick.
Yeah, it was 13 ounces and like $8,000 cash. So
okay.
And I kept hustling. So
yeah.
So I was kind of the big dog for like I could tell everybody I only had one good year using really.
That was it.
93. Yeah.
Yeah. So you bubbled off of that and just floated for a year and a half.
Yeah, doing my thing, buying cars and sleeping with girls and living the life really. And then when I get my little feelings hurt when they take the kid kind of thing, and I just lose my mind over it, you know what I mean?
Wow.
And I don't know if I've ever, so like when they took my daughter, I told her this too, I don't know if I've ever like recovered like my heart after that.
Really?
Yeah, even working the steps, even doing all the stuff I do, I'm pretty cold-hearted as far as like, you hurt my feelings, it would be tough to do, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, you don't create enough space to get hurt still.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying. Yeah.
So there's some work there.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
for
cool.
Sure. I told her that the other day too, and she's like, I go, I know you think that like I had given up because I didn't smut the lady who sent CPS to get her because that's who ended up getting to keep her.
Yeah.
And I never smutted her up while she was alive. That was to my daughter, that was her mom.
Yeah.
Even though it was her grandma.
Yeah.
And they had this, they were in the program, and they both had 10 years maybe at the time, and they had gotten her twin sister's kid. I mean, so my third child's mom had a twin sister. They had her kid, and then they got my kid, and they had a little family. It was again, we get to do it again, family.
Yeah.
With these two kids, and they kind of did me dirty, and
When you say you didn't smut them,
yeah, I never told my daughter how much I hated her or what I thought.
is that what smut means?
Yeah, never talked down on or smeared their name.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they
I've never heard that term.
Yeah, they sent CPS, even though I wasn't using crank. I was only smoking weed at the time. I was going to try to.
That was your drug of choice?
You were trying to do.
I was going to try to be a father.
Yeah, you're trying to do the dad thing. Yeah.
because I already lost one before for sure, and then I didn't know about the other one, and then, I thought, well, maybe I'll try to do something, get a job or whatever, and I didn't really know what to do. You know what I mean?
I like that phrase.
Yeah.
I was thinking about trying to do something.
Yeah, and I had a friend that got his life together, and he was like, "Come live here, bring the baby." And
So you had somewhat of a plan, and you were trying to move in the right direction, and then
she sent CPS.
yeah.
And you're still doing crank at the time?
No, just smoking weed, only weed.
And then you lost the kid, and we're like, oh fuck it.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll
Yeah.
kill myself.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of a chain reaction, right? When those things
and
happen.
I became pretty heartless after that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I ever recovered all the way. My wife says I haven't.
I struggle with the similar stuff, man. Just like letting somebody in. I mean, even with close friends, like it's taken me all of the 8 years I've been around to be able to have some healthy, like vulnerable relationships.
Yeah.
And women especially. Like the relationship I'm in right now is probably the first, like really what I would call healthy thing I've ever experienced. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine is too, for sure.
And you do the work to keep it that way.
I try.
We have to, or else
Yeah.
we're going to lose them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that holds true for you.
You've been married for how long?
20 years.
It's a fucking chunk of
We've been
change.
together 21, and we only been in one fight.
That's tight.
And how long you got? How many years?
23.
23 years?
She's got 25.
Nice.
She picked up on a newcomer. So she's
Shame.
13 step.
So tell us about a reservation you had when you first got clean. Like if this happens, I'm going to get loaded, or if my kid dies. Or
When you were done, were you done?
Yeah. I don't think I had any reservations. I've never had a serious thought about it ever. Ever.
Really?
Yeah.
So
The desire, because this is my third time getting clean.
Okay.
My first time was 17, second time was I was 19.
What was the 17? When you were 17, you were in a rehab? Adolescent rehab?
Yeah, like I wasn't allowed to come home. Like my mom was
Yeah.
like, I couldn't come home, and I went to an adolescent treatment center, and my brother even came in there after me. And they didn't really make him stay. He was kind of just smoking weed at the time, but I was already shooting meth, So
Yeah.
we knew where I was at, But that was my first time, and I'd had an aunt and uncle who had gotten in the program back then.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so they had did like a little. I had called my mom from a payphone and said, "Hey, I'm shooting, I'm shooting drugs up." I mean, it blew her mind.
At 17?
Yeah, the kid that couldn't swallow an aspirin. I started at 15, so for 2 years I.
You were shooting at 15?
Yeah, so for 2 years I had been shooting dope already.
That's pretty early.
Yeah. It just baffled her, the kid that wouldn't swallow an aspirin.
Wow, yeah.
Did you use it in other ways before you started shooting it?
I snorted it, but my running partner was a junkie.
Okay.
And I used to think it was disgusting until that one day I said, "Hey, can you?"
Yeah.
I'm gonna do one of those. And no lie. 10 minutes later, I go, "Let's just do another one."
Yeah.
It was like that.
Yeah.
At 17, you went to rehab. Did you have like juvenile hall involved?
Well, I'd already been to what they call the Neighborhood Alternative Center, and it's basically for runaways. Because I wasn't allowed home.
Yeah.
But I was reported as a runaway, and then my mom would go figure out where I was at, and then call the cops and tell them. So they had swooped me up before, and I went to the Neighborhood Alternative Center over here off Bradshaw, And I stayed there a couple weeks, but there was a girl that was there that was 17, and they were letting her work. She was on some kind of work release program, and she had, I chewed tobacco since I was 9. And like I was fully addicted to chewing tobacco bad. And she said, I smuggled some money in here. Let's get out of here. I'll buy you some chew. I said, let's go. It wasn't even the dope.
Yeah, you got a tip?
Chew. Yeah, we go to the store and bought it.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Did you ever do any rounds in juvenile hall?
No, I didn't catch a felony until I was 18.
So from the runaway house,
I stayed out there.
Somehow you got to rehab.
Yeah, I stayed out there. I burned a dude that was gonna tell my mom what was going on.
Yeah.
Knew my mom, and I went to a payphone and called her collect on a house phone at the time, and said, "Hey, I've been shooting dope." So she came, picked me up, and they called my aunt and uncle. And the next day I was in.
Oh, no kidding! Right off the street.
Took me right to an adolescent treatment.
And that was at 17.
That was at 17, and then I had big dreams. So I guess I did have some resentments, and I think about it because I was getting ready to graduate from there, and I wanted to, play football and do all the stuff that I didn't do when I was, a kid.
Right, yeah.
Because I was already shooting dope stuff, and they said that's not really. I'm getting ready, a couple months till I was 18. They said that's not really preparing you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You probably need to worry more about getting a job. You know what I mean? And so they sent me to SLE.
No kidding.
I was in an SLE over here on Oak that they had, and it was all it was all convicts, adults. I ended up shooting heroin there the first time, smoking crack there the first time. It was a terrible idea to put a kid in with these.
What year was that?
Had to be like 88, maybe.
88. Okay. When I got clean, crack wasn't even out yet.
Yeah,
they called it Ready Rock.
Yeah, it had just started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So then I ran for a couple years after that, and until I burnt a dude that was going to kill me, and I called my aunt and uncle. I didn't even call my mom. I called my aunt and uncle, who were still clean. They were in Auburn, and they're still in Auburn. And they took me up there. And
Are they still in the program?
No.
Okay.
I think one of them sober. One of them might smoke weed. I don't know for sure.
Okay.
But you do know their kids.
Okay.
Yeah. So I went up there, and back then that fellowship was great. They had the Quonset hunt at the fairgrounds, and it was kind of like an Alano club where my home group is, and so it was pretty cool. And it was far enough up the hill from where I was from that I couldn't sneak back down there.
Wow.
So it was
not easily.
Not easily.
Yeah.
It was kind of like being in a treatment facility. You know what I mean? I only knew people my aunt and uncle knew.
Yeah,
so
that's
I only
killer.
knew people up there in the program. So I stayed clean 9 months. And the first time I went back to the neighborhood to show them how good I'd doing, I smoked some weed.
Dude, that is exactly. So I did like a couple of years in and out of juvenile hall, but instead of going to YA, at the time that you tell the judge that you're a drug addict, he'll put you in treatment.
Right. So
at 17, I went into treatment as well, and same thing, man. I was a crankster gangster.
Yeah.
That was how you introduced yourself in the 80s at meetings. Instead of saying, oh, that's what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, my name's Kevin. I'm a crankster gangster.
Yeah.
Yeah, until some old timer said, you don't need to do that anymore.
Shut up, kid.
Yeah, shut up, kid. That's probably what he said. Old man Bob Burke.
Work the steps or die, motherfucker.
Yeah, that guy. Same one.
Anyway.
Yeah. So the reservations you didn't really have.
No, not after those couple little times. I liked it, and I totally was okay with paying the consequences for a long time.
Yeah.
It didn't. It actually gave me a little fresh run. People were kind of, usually by the time I would get arrested, people were kind of getting tired of me. I needed a nap and a sandwich. You know what I mean? And I didn't get any big, giant 10-year sentences or anything like that. So it was just enough to kind of get a little meat back on my bones. And
was
go
that
back
getting
at it.
comfortable for you?
Yeah, I could. I didn't mind it a bit. I needed it.
Yes.
So you were 19, and you went back out after the 9 months.
Yep.
And then how long was it again until you got clean?
30.
30? Okay, so 11 years.
Yep.
And in that time, that's when you ended up doing your prison terms? Or term?
I only did a term, yeah.
A term?
Yep.
How long was it?
2 years.
Okay, that's not.
They gave me 3.5 on a carjacking. I couldn't sign the paperwork fast enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? And so that was at Pelican Bay?
No, that was just, I ended up at Vacaville and I ended up in
Oh,
some trouble
that's
there.
right. You went to Pelican Bay for H&I.
H&I.
That's right. Did that make you feel good when you went to Pelican Bay to do H&I?
Well, yeah, H&I's been my thing for a long time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's going into, Sacramento. I was going to Sacramento County Jail for 15 years, I think.
Yeah.
And,
It's a good feeling, huh?
But Pelican Bay is different. It's, if, you know Pelican Bay, you know what it is. You know what I mean? You know where you're at. It's
There's a little bit more structure there.
Well, there's an aura about the place, especially like A yard and B yard. You know where you're at. You know where you're at. It's a different place, man. It's a different feeling, and it was cool. You're on one side, and they got a thing. It's a firing line. You know what I mean? Where it's they're not crossing it. They cross it, they're probably getting shot.
Yeah,
you know
right.
What I mean? It's dead serious.
And
you know where
you're
you're
doing
at.
an H&I meeting.
Yeah, and it was cool. I'll never forget, man.
Are you still doing those every year?
I haven't done them in a while.
Okay.
But I'll never forget. This was right after they let most of those guys out of the hole, out of the chute, because D yard was where our friend was. Because that's where I met our friend.
Oh, okay.
And then, so these guys, you know what kind of caliber dude you're with in these meetings, and I used to tell the story, and I still tell it. I told it last night about how I got addicted. My disease manifests itself, in all areas of my life, and how I was in love with biscuits and gravy. Like I ate myself to 500 pounds,
right?
through
Yeah,
biscuits and gravy. You know what I mean? And like I told him, I was so serious about biscuits and gravy that I got in a cell fight before behind biscuits and gravy. Like I love biscuits and gravy. Yeah. So I told the story about how when I decided in 2009 I decided I was gonna change my life. My doctor said I was gonna die if I didn't do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I started eating right for a couple years straight. Did not. You invited me to a restaurant we were talking about before. I wouldn't even go. I can't order. I don't care if they got a salad on the menu. If they got biscuits and gravy, I'm probably gonna order it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I just wouldn't go.
That's so funny. You're just so locked in. Like it's cool. You know what you like. That's for sure. But biscuits and gravy. That's the one.
You're laughing at him, and I'm relating to him because I fucking love biscuits and gravy.
I'm laughing because I relate too, dude. SOS in county I'll fight over it too. I'll probably fight over it today.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't want to see either one of you get up right now.
Yeah. So the funny story is my wife and I, even though we had the SLA, we always had somebody living with us that was on parole getting their life together. And we had this dude named Robbie, who rest in peace. I'll say his name because he's dead. But Robbie made biscuits and gravy and had a bunch of people over on a Sunday. And everybody ate except me. And he's like, hey, there's some in there left if you want some. It's in the refrigerator. I'm like, thanks. And I know it is my refrigerator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then what happened is everybody left, and it was me and the biscuits and gravy.
And you ate it all.
I walked in there and opened the door and looked at it, shut it and left. Came back, opened it up, stuck a finger, ate a fingerful and left. Went back in there, grabbed the whole thing in a spoon and ate the whole thing. Sick to my stomach. I hadn't eaten like that in 2 years. It was miserable. Laying on the couch in the fetal position, and the next fucking day I was across the street ordering biscuits and gravy.
Oh my God.
So I'm telling this story with these dudes on Pelican Bay, A-Yard, right?
Yeah.
And he's the one dude goes, Oh, I get it. I get it.
Wait, that's awesome.
He said, I got to keep my finger out of the biscuits and gravy. I said, that's all you got to do. You gotta keep one is too many, 1,000 is never enough. He goes, I just got to keep my finger out of the biscuits and gravy.
It's so funny you have a life experience that correlates to addiction so clearly with biscuits and gravy. It's so good.
I tell people all the time, because I never really tried to quit other than those times when I was a kid. And I was still a kid. I didn't know what I was doing, you know.
That's funny.
I learned more about my disease, and still to this day, with food than I do with anything else.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, I relate to that
It's
too.
killing me. Biscuits and gravy. Now it's morphed into pizza.
Okay.
I like pizza now a lot, and that's been my struggle. I haven't touched biscuits and gravy in a long time. But them damn pizzas, man.
So that's
You kept your finger out for a couple years now?
Yeah,
That's good.
I don't even know when the last time I've had it was.
What kind of pizza? Was there a specific place, type?
Just meat, all meat,
All
kinda
meat pizza?
stuff, white
Right.
sauce, but any kind of pizza.
Do you still feel like the cravings come up?
Dude, the pizza, it's tough. Dude.
Yeah.
So you do, huh?
How often do you eat pizza?
I was eating it once a week, probably even you know, on the journey that I'm on now until I.
And you said 200 pounds since your heaviest?
Yeah.
So what you started at what?
I started at 480. I went to 269. I went back to 365, and then now I'm at 256. But I just did a 12-week cut where I did not cheat one single time.
Dude, that's so good.
And I lost 20-something more pounds.
That's
I'm not really.
good for you.
Yeah, I'm so in tune with what I'm doing now. It's really not a big deal if I have some pizza.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't. It's
Are
not
you counting calories?
I track everything.
Everything,
If it
yeah.
goes in my if it goes in my mouth, it goes in this phone.
Yeah.
So
what do you use? A Fitness Pal or?
Yeah,
Okay.
Fitness Pal.
Yeah.
Your correlation between your addiction and food, like other people say the same thing about tobacco or nicotine.
Yeah.
And
I quit that too.
Yeah.
I started chewing when I was 9. I quit probably 10 years ago.
Good for you.
What do you think your biggest vice is currently?
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
Food,
Food?
100%.
What else? Anything else?
The gym.
Gym and the food?
Yeah.
So let me ask you, has the gym caused you any consequences?
No.
So that's where I question whether it's if you're going beyond the means.
I go 7 days a week. It's probably not that great for me. It could cause me problems later.
Do you have any physical injuries?
No, because I'm careful, and I all these guys are clowning, talking about me being over there on the girl side, but I stay on them. I stay on the machines
Yeah.
because they're built so that old people like me can't hurt themselves. I've been hurt,
Yeah.
and it was always from trying to ego lift.
Yeah.
So I just don't do it.
Well, that's cool that you recognize it. But what about if you're saying that you go 7 days a week? What about the time that you spend there? Is it taking away from time that you need to be with your wife, or
No, I got her going 2 days a week.
so you're actually don't have any consequences over?
Which I think is okay.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, and I will. Like she wanted to go out of town for her 25 years, and I took that couple days off, and I took it off from the food. I said, let's just do whatever.
Enjoy it.
And let's just enjoy it.
Good.
And you were able to get right back on track, okay?
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yep.
Yeah, you put so much work into it now, it's kind of it's just how you live.
Yeah. But I
And you probably felt like shit over those couple days.
Horrible.
Yeah, dude, that's the problem I run into too. And I meal prep most of the time, and I have these cravings where, like on the way here, I didn't eat my meal prep, and I'm like on the way here, and I found myself like angry, and I'm like, I should eat something. I'm probably hungry. I stopped at the gas station and got a corn dog, a pizza stick, a chocolate payday, and smacked them all before I got here.
I don't get caught without.
Yeah.
That right now, you walk down there into that car.
You got a meal ready.
There's a protein muffin.
Yeah.
At least bring one of them or a protein shot to drink with me everywhere I go.
That's funny because Josh knows that he's got his own little cupboard with snacks here.
I swear, everywhere, any of my friends that I go to their house regularly, I'm the snack guy, dude. First thing I do is hop in the pantry and flip one, because I don't keep any of that stuff at my house.
Right.
Like, because I know, like, it's...
Oh, you only use when you're out. You only party with friends.
Yeah.
Because if I keep it, snacks for me, if I keep snacks, they just turn into meals.
Yeah.
I'll literally eat, like, I'm like, oh, there's 12 bars in there. I'll eat every couple days, I'll have one or something. I'll eat the whole box that night.
Yeah.
I just don't have any.
I don't have a turn off switch either.
Yeah, so I got 6 meals for dinner, 6 meals for lunch, and then I make smoothies in the morning, and I make that work. Well, and I don't even make the meals. I just
Yeah.
if I didn't have somebody to make them, I'd order them, I'd buy them. Yeah.
Yeah, I started. I'm real cool about I can eat the same thing every day.
Me too.
So it's pretty easy. I've been just doing all the meal prep, and I even do it for my wife.
I actually prefer to eat the same thing every day for the most part.
And at the same time of day.
Yep. So and that helps.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Well, good for you guys. I eat what I want.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. That brings me to this. If you eat something, like you say you took your wife out on a weekend and you just said we're going to eat whatever, did you come back or have like shame and guilt about that, or did you recognize that you were just trying to treat yourself?
Yeah, so if I would imagine if I let it snowball like I used to do regularly in the past, then maybe there would be. But I had been 12 weeks with no
deviations.
No deviation, not even one little bit.
So you're feeling okay. You didn't have any shame or guilt about it.
No, and it starts to wake up the beast though, because I ate a pizza that tasted really good.
Yeah.
And I like pizza. You know what I mean? But more I think about it, I haven't eaten biscuits and gravy in a long time.
Yeah.
I guess I lost the desire.
So next time you go to a meeting, when you share a meeting, you can announce yourself like, I haven't had biscuits and gravy in 10 years. Yeah. And then there'll be like 4 or 5 people out there clapping for you.
Yeah. Oh, I know it.
Yeah.
People relate, because we get to the program. I'm not the first guy that blew up. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
Shit, no.
I mean, anybody that's got any kind of long standing in recovery is very familiar with the fact that the drugs are not the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the most common side effect of getting clean is gaining weight.
Yeah. Anything that feels good, looks good. I remember one time.
Tastes good, smells good.
I found online shopping. East Bay catalog. At one time I had every different color shell top Adidas like I really needed them.
I've been buying trucks, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stopped. I'm done.
You should stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was I was sharing a meeting in Santa Cruz. It was like a birthday meeting once a month, and it was like 17 years ago. And I shared about I hadn't tried to stab my brother in 15 years, and there was like 15 or 20 guys back in the corner. They're like, yeah, they're clapping their hands, and I go, those are my people right there. There was 300 people in the room. Yeah, those are my people. Yeah, I haven't tried to kill my brother in 17 years. Yeah. That was a big thing for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Just saying.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you recognize where you're at in your recovery right now?
I do.
What does that look like?
It looks a little weird for me sometimes. Since COVID, things have definitely changed
for everyone.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on what you would say is weird?
Well, I stayed. So I think I've secretaried 20 or more meetings. You know what I mean? I liked that.
Right now you do?
No, I have over the years.
Yeah.
So that's the position that I always have liked, other than my H&I stuff. So I'll always do H&I. Like I'm in Sacramento, doesn't let me in anymore, so I'm in Placer now.
Why not, if you don't mind me asking?
They don't like my style, I guess.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because I'm clowning them and joking with them and stuff. They won't say why.
They found a reason, and then they don't need to tell you.
They said they would tell me. They said they wouldn't tell the people who run that part of H&I.
Yeah.
They said they couldn't tell them, but they would tell me. So that when I emailed, they just didn't answer.
Okay.
They just don't. They just.
Difference of opinion.
I'm not the come in and let's talk about the book guy. You know what I mean? I'm going to come in and let's laugh a little bit.
So you're up in Placer then?
I'm in Placer now. Yeah.
Right.
My buddy, he won't care. James goes in with you.
Yeah. We went in once. We were supposed to go in again.
Yeah.
But it's cool because those are my people. You know what I mean? And my goal when I go in there is not to teach them about Narcotics Anonymous. My goal is to hopefully get them to come to a meeting when they get out.
Sure, give them something to relate to.
Let's laugh a little bit. Let's tell the story about running around with a gun with fake bullets. You know what I mean? Let's get them, hopefully attract them to at least try me.
And it probably fucking works.
I mean, I've had guys walk up to me,
Yeah.
So we were talking about you like recognizing where your program's at today. So H&I, you secretary meetings.
Yeah. Well, I haven't since COVID.
Right.
That's
but
what's weird
that was
about
your
my
gig.
thing. My gig was I like to open up the meetings and
When you say open up meetings, like start a meeting or just secretary?
Just be the secretary.
Yeah.
So would you say, is it okay to say that your recovery isn't maybe weird, but just looks different?
It looks different.
Yeah. Do you have the urge to get a secretary position and do those things again?
No, that's what's weird.
Okay.
Because I really don't.
Do you have other ideas of what kind of service you want to do?
Well, I'm surrounded by addicts all day, every day.
Whether you want to be or not.
Yeah, I mean, I share a shop with a guy that's probably the best sponsor I know. You know what I mean? Not my sponsor, but I mean, I helped him get out when he got out.
Yeah.
But he's a magnificent teacher of dudes that come from where we come from about the book. You know what I mean? So, and he's the one that's on me about solving all my problems with violence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you need that guy around you right now.
And he's a no bullshit guy. He doesn't care. He's kind of.
Yeah, I've heard you refer to him several times outside of this conversation, and in reference to like, I'm fucking up. He's on my bumper about it.
Yeah,
like he's right there to press the issue with you regularly. That's cool.
Absolutely.
It's good to have that accountability.
And he does it with anybody. Does not matter. I don't care if you come into that store to buy something from him, and he knows about you, and he'll tell you about yourself.
Right on.
And it don't matter who you are. I don't care what caliber you think you are.
It's a good thing, man.
Yeah, nah, he's great.
How many meetings a week would you say you hit?
I would say I've been trying to commit to one, but I haven't been doing it.
Yeah?
Yep.
So no home group?
No. Well, North Sac Group's my home group.
North Sac, okay.
Yeah.
So does that feel weird to you too? Do you feel like you're? Is it possible that the comfort that you found, or the idea that not secretarying a meeting is okay for you, has led to like, well, maybe I don't need to go to meetings, or like, does it concern you at all?
Well, over the years, my main thing is I know when I would start slacking on my meeting attendance, I would go get nominated and voted in, so I have to be there.
Yeah.
You know, and I just haven't got to that point where I want to make myself get committed to doing it. Which a lot of times I would just do it the same as I would take off on somebody. You know what I mean? Over the years, I would just do it, and then that way it's done.
Yeah.
And I got 6 months to worry about it.
I get it.
When they closed Spruce, that was my favorite meeting, and that's the meeting I secretaried, many times.
And they closed it during COVID?
They closed during COVID, and they're not going to open it again.
What about starting it again in a different spot?
We talked about it. It's just a weird night, and Spruce was a great place because it's kind of halfway between the north and halfway between everywhere. You know what I mean? So, and I don't know if I like it because it was a gigantic meeting with hundreds plus people in it, or I like the chaos of that, I think.
Sure.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You like the chaos?
I do, I think so.
What
that was a
about,
busy meeting.
Saturday Night Alive.
Yeah, and that's the same people. That's the same people.
Is that still going on?
Yeah, I think so. But they were moving around. A lot of people don't want to rent to them either.
Right.
It's the big meeting format that these churches are kind of tired of.
And the chaos.
It's a lot of chaos.
Yeah. I've been to those meetings before, and it's just not my flavor anymore.
Yeah.
And I do see the appeal to it. It's attractive to
And maybe that's me too.
yeah.
But I like meetings with lots of newcomers, with these programs that bring these newcomers.
You ever hit
in.
Madhouse?
I do. It's just too far from me.
How
Yeah.
far is it for you?
For me, it's literally on the opposite side of town.
So
What does it take you
half an
about
hour?
35 minutes?
Yeah, I can almost get here as fast.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Almost.
That's pretty close, yeah.
yeah. From
Because it's right down the worst. I have to go straight down Elkhorn Boulevard to Greenback all the way. It's just one ugly
one ugly drive.
stoplight. Like Spruce was, half that way. But it was like that's my freeway, that's my line. North
Yeah.
Sac Group is not far from me. I just don't know why I can't get back into it.
North Sac's it's a very particular flavor, man.
Yeah.
Well,
The energy there.
Yeah, I'm just digging
Yeah.
to like figure out what's holding you back from. Do you think like one meeting is enough for you right now?
I think if I could go to one meeting a week regularly, it would be.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
But I can't even make that right now. I don't know why.
Yeah, so you don't know.
My life's pretty good and everything's pretty comfortable and I'm pretty busy and I've become obsessed with this gym and
That's the most dangerous part of your recovery right now is when you don't really, when you think, oh, are you telling yourself, oh, I got this?
I'm pretty sure that's what's happening.
It is for me, for sure.
So can we like call you in a couple weeks and see if you've been going to meetings?
Yeah, I've been trying to hit this Sunday night one. Sunday night one, Hugs Not Drugs.
Yeah. I think that's-
Orangevale, Alano?
No, it's not too far from Spruce. It's
Oh, yeah.
good.
It's
Hugs Not Drugs.
it's near it's on Auburn and or Old Auburn. It's by the Walmart there. What is that?
It is somewhere right over there.
Sylvan intersection
Cool.
somewhere, yeah.
right on.
And there's a couple programs that take newcomers there too, and I kind of like that. I kind
Nice.
of like that flavor.
I only bring all that up because I've seen like a whole shit show happen in my life because of that. Just me telling myself I got that.
Yeah,
I got this.
Yeah,
So what about your spirituality? Is that a thing for you?
it's not what you would think.
It doesn't matter what I think.
Well, I've been an atheist my whole life, and
Yeah.
I still really am. you know.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the story that got me into what I consider my higher power. So I was in the business of housing guys coming out of prison, like I said, and
Yeah.
we started a program to try to help the lifers get out. That's where the Konnected thing happened, and so I had a dude I knew in the program that did sponsorship through the mail,
Right.
which is tough to get men to do. The women will write men are in there, but this guy said, "Hey, I got a sponsee that's going to go to the parole board." Well, that's what we do, right? Will you take him? So I had been writing letters to this dude. He got denied a few different times.
He was a lifer that got denied parole.
Because he killed his cellie.
Okay.
He killed his cellie, but his cellie had a conviction that was
He couldn't be housed with him.
he didn't want to be housed.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so he went to jail on a petty theft with a prior. He was a heroin addict and turned it into a life sentence. And not only a life sentence, 26 years of single cell. So through writing acceptance letters for this guy, he finally got approved, and it was this guy's sponsee, right? So I let that guy come and live for free. I gave him every piece of clothing he wore. I helped him get his car. I didn't charge him a day's rent.
This is at one of your
Yeah.
SLEs.
Yeah. I didn't charge him a day's rent.
26 years in isolation, dude.
Yeah. I mean, he was on a level 4 yard.
Yeah.
But no celly.
Yeah.
And he was an NA guy. So we went to a lot of meetings, and he was an atheist too. And he said that he had been using the spiritual principles that he had learned behind working the steps as his higher power, and it had been working great for him. And I was like, that's what I've been doing.
I get
the whole
it.
time.
That makes sense.
So a dude that I was helping, right?
So essentially, Narcotics Anonymous is your higher power.
Kind of.
That's tight. Yeah, I can relate to that. There's a piece of that for me too.
Yeah. And so this, and the dude I'm supposed to be helping, and he died in my house. They gave him a compassionate release. He had liver failure, but the way Narcotics Anonymous blessed this dude, he was in every hot chick's inbox. You know what I mean? He was old, and nobody was going to sleep with him. But he was great. We taught him how to use Facebook. We gave him a car, got him a license, taught him how to drive again, gave him every piece of clothing. This guy did not want for nothing. His whole, he must have been out maybe 6 months before he died.
That's cool, man.
Wow.
But man, he got just he just got
to help me,
man.
So I'm just trying to grab the spirituality part of that, so that
honesty,
just somebody
faith,
that
hope, courage,
somebody that you can relate to was this guy, and he made it okay to talk about not believing in a deity.
Yeah, and what he did, what happened to him to get this life sentence, could happen to anybody that's done time.
Fast.
It's expected of you.
That's what I meant by you couldn't house with him.
Yeah, it's expected of you to handle that. Maybe he went a little overboard.
Yeah.
But it's expected of you to do something if you end up in a situation that he did. And he ended up getting the rest of his life, and he's just a heroin addict stealing batteries. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I was actually just trying to like your spirituality is based more on the spiritual principles than it is on either like a church concept or a religion, and that's the way I came into the rooms too. Is like I've experienced all of that, and then and just from my experiences, I don't believe that.
Yeah, and my wife is raised Catholic and is a Christian.
Yeah, which is great for them. That's what I like about the program, is that we get to pick our own, and nobody's gonna judge us. And if they do judge us, those aren't the people that we want around
and
us.
I'm big on the traditions with that stuff, and like I've went round and round with some of these convicts that believe their higher power is the only way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And will want to talk about that in meetings, and I've almost got into pretty heavy altercations with some pretty serious dudes about it. You know what I mean?
Keep it separated. Yeah.
Listen, man, it doesn't matter if you want to talk about that. Talk to them out in the parking lot about it.
Right.
Just don't do it in here. I go, because you want to know what happened. It was, and I had this argument with another friend of ours this giant dude that had 200 something points. You know what I mean? Was a lifer that got out, and he said, "Deny me in front of your friends." And he busted out the scripture. I go, here's the thing. I go, you do that in this meeting, and you'll chase somebody out of there. And you want to know if somebody would have did that when I was in there, they would have chased me out of there. And then who would have helped you get out?
Yeah, there you go.
I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I go, why can't you just do it outside?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm pretty serious about it.
Did that hit for him?
Yeah, but when they're that far into that's the only way.
Yeah.
It's, it hit for him right there.
Yeah.
But he would still
Sure. I have witnessed guys leave Narcotics Anonymous because they believe theirs is the only way, and so they leave on a resentment, and they're getting loaded right now.
As soon as somebody starts talking about their specific higher power, I shut it off. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't want to listen. I don't want to. In a meeting. If it's a discussion, that's different.
So
but
you say you shut off?
I do, yeah.
Yeah?
I shut it off.
Have you ever said anything?
I will. It depends on
who.
It depends on who it is, and it also depends on how they do it. Like if I feel like that caused harm, had a strong possibility to cause harm, and I feel like that's something that they do regularly and nobody's told them, I'll probably afterwards I'll say something.
Yeah.
But some people are just I believe in a higher power, and I call that higher power Jesus Christ, and then that's the end of it, and then they keep talking. I don't really, But if somebody's if they're preaching in a meeting, it's and the way I'll break it down is I wouldn't go to church and get up in front of everybody and start talking about work the steps or die.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Motherfucker.
Yeah, I wouldn't preach. You need to work the steps. You need to follow traditions. I wouldn't get up at church and do that. Why would you come to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's. I've had the experience within the last 4 months being at a meeting and this is exactly what you guys were talking about, depends on who it is. A newcomer say, I just wanted to read something for you guys, and started and
That's
said,
exactly how my argument started with
well, all I did was say, hey, I'm sorry, but we don't do that here. And a little bit of love and compassion, deflated it. And the guy sat down, okay, I'm sorry. And then afterwards, I went up to him, talked to him, saying, hey, this is just not a place where we talk about a specific religion.
Yeah.
We don't talk about religion here. And there's a part in our literature that
It protects the fellowship.
It says that we seldom encourage any type of identification of spirituality to a specific thing.
Yeah.
Because it does push people away.
Yeah, and I don't try to police a meeting anymore.
Yeah.
Because it and I like to make fun of the convention goers, because when I was new, my best man at my wedding, we had both got out at the same time, and his counselor at a program asked him to come chair a meeting. Well, neither one of us knew it was a AA meeting, and he got up there and started telling his story, and these old timers back then especially stopped him in the middle of his chair, embarrassed him, said, hey, this is a AA meeting. And he didn't know what was going on, he didn't understand, but embarrassed him, and he never went to another meeting.
Yeah.
But I find any people doing that with this, as soon as you say clean and sober, they want to.
That too, yeah. Clarity statement,
and I get it, but how about we talk to them afterwards if that's your people?
Sure.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in a long time.
No addict's going to die because he said it one time. But if that's your friend, correct your friend in private.
Yeah, we just did I'll go to a tradition working meeting, and we just did the 6th tradition the other day, and we were talking about, at the end of it, we touched on specific religions in a meeting, and just to say, like, he never went to another meeting again, like that same concept, like, as much as in the name of protecting the fellowship and following traditions, like they're there for a reason. Somebody might share something about Jesus at the same way it could affect somebody in a negative way, and they may not want to come back. There may be somebody sitting in the meeting that's like, where is Jesus in all of this?
Right.
And they get that one hit from that one guy, and all of a sudden they're able to stay in a meeting because they found that, and I'm not trying to
I'm not making excuses for my boy either, because he was looking for a reason to not come back to anyone.
Sure. But it's hard to, who's to say what somebody needs to hear,
Our predecessors.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
The hard-won experience of those who came before us.
Yeah.
They've learned the lesson that
so that we don't have to.
Religion at meetings pushes people away. The only thing for me is that if we do say or do anything, is we do it with love and compassion.
Yeah, and you don't want to embarrass people at group level. That's the worst.
No.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to drive people away.
And there's the traditions are there for a reason, and if we look at what Narcotics Anonymous is doing today and the reach that it has because of those traditions, it's pretty hard to argue that.
Yeah.
So I got one last question for you, and this is kind of a thing that Josh and I like, is we want to hear like the craziest story from your using. Like, it's something that's not going to incriminate you in any crime, but like, I don't know, our friend Tim, he found himself like smoking crack in a porta potty at a concert for 6 hours, jerking off.
No, that was Lindsay.
Well, we could listen to the tapes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a million of them, but there's one I tell pretty regularly in meetings.
Yeah.
So I had gotten this is at the end of my use, and my hustle was so weak that I couldn't even get a gun that worked, and some dude had given me this gun. It was an old Smith & Wesson .22 revolver, and it was in a tackle box in a bunch of different pieces. And and it was a 10-shot 22.
Yeah.
There was no wood in the handle, and the hammer was stuck cocked halfway back, and the flap where you load the bullets in just bounced around if you moved it, you know what I mean? And so I got to tweaking, and I black taped up the handle, and I super glued that flap shut so it didn't bounce around. I cleaned it all up, got it looking like it worked, but then I realized if I pointed at it, you can see there ain't no bullets in it. You know what I mean? So I was like, well, that ain't gonna work. So I go to the hardware store and I get this copper tape shit, and I spend a couple hours tweaking, making fake bullets. And
Sick.
and the cylinder didn't spin; it was rusted, stuck. You know, so I couldn't load them from the back, and I already super glued the fucking thing shut, so I couldn't bust it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had to make, I'm the Leonardo da Vinci of fake bullets. Like, they were perfect because I had to load them from the back. They got to be big enough that when I go like this, they don't just fall out. But I can't smash the tip because they got to look like they still work. So I have to get these things out to be the perfect fucking size. It takes me a couple hours. You know what I mean? And there's 10
Tweaker.
9 of them because one's hidden. You know what I mean? And so I spent a couple hours tweaking, making these fake bullets. And I'm driving. I'm on the run from drug court. I'm driving a car I took from Sancho. I already did every sanction drug court gives you. I think they give you a 1 week, 2 week, 21 day. They give you 3 sanctions. So I already did 2. I'm on the 21 day sanctions.
What's a sanction?
So when you take a drug court case, when you don't show up or screw up, they'll put you in jail for 3 days.
Yeah.
Then the next one's
It's like
7 days.
clean up.
Yeah, then it's 21 days. Like, I would never forget when I walked into the courthouse on this. She goes, Mr. Hall, I didn't even show up to the first meeting for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Twice. And so she's like, I already did the 21 days. She goes, do you want to try again? I go, oh, absolutely. You know what I mean? I'll be there. She goes, okay, we're gonna finish this 21 day sanction and you can go try it again. And I was off and running.
All right.
Right? I'm driving a car I took from Sancho, the guy that was sleeping with my girlfriend while I was in jail. You know what I mean? And I go to a house in downtown Sacramento. One of the guys she had been sleeping with, of course, according to her, he's the baller. You know what I mean? And so we go upstairs, and I got her knocking on the door, and I'm standing to the side to answer, and then they don't answer. So I'm figuring they would answer for her. She's going to give it up. You know what I mean? So I go to the car, I get some channel locks, I go back up there, and I just grab the door handle with the channel locks, pop it open, run in, and here comes this dude around the corner. I didn't have the gun out. You know what I mean? So I'm like, so I pull it out and I grab him by the hair. You know what I mean? And I get him on the ground. I'm looking because I got to point this thing because they don't work. So I don't want him
to look at it too much.
And I look up and there's a girl in the bedroom already. That's why he didn't answer the door for her. You know what I mean? So I'm like, where's the dope at? You know what I mean? He's like, I don't got any. I'm like, well, where's the money at? He's all, he just kind of flipped it out the thing. So she grabs the girl's shoes. This is how hood rat my baby mom was.
Like
she
those
grabs
shoes.
the girl's shoes. I grab he did have a little rock and some cash, and we run down. It's an apartment. It's an old Victorian house downtown that they turn into apartments.
Okay.
So it's a shared stairwell indoors, wooden, kind of noise it makes when you're running down that thing.
Yeah, and it's old.
Yeah, it's old. So I'm running. It's boom, 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 boom. I go out to get in the car. I open the door. I jump in the car. The car door, because the roads go like this.
Yep.
The car door's stuck on the sidewalk.
Yes.
I can't drive off. I got to get back out, lift the door up, pull the door. It was Keystone Cop robbery.
Yeah.
And that was my last robbery. I ended up
with a
gun that didn't work.
That you spent quite a bit of time tweaking on it to get it to be authentic.
Yep.
Yeah, the things we'll do for a little bit of fucking money.
Yep.
A quick little breaking and entering turned into a fucking home invasion really fast.
Yeah, I
didn't know.
Did not think for 1 second he was in there.
Yeah.
And it scared me.
Done it myself, dude.
It scared me when he came around the corner. Luckily, I had long hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just grabbed a handful of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I carjacked a dude at I had my girl at a bar. The guy told me this guy owed him $300, and
justification.
and yeah, so
He's got it coming.
I go ask him to take you to get some dope, and he did. And I waited outside, and when they came out, I just started walking next to him. Now he freaks out. He doesn't even realize. He's like, oh shit, he was leaving with my chick, but now I'm there. So I'm like, we all get in the car together, and I ended up taking it from him at a stop sign, and that's what I went to prison for. After that was all the old. That was like the last 2 weeks of my using. That's how it was.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. So that's the Searching and Fearless Moral Inventory. So we appreciate you coming out. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glad you asked me.
It's fun.
Yeah, very cool.
It's interesting how the episodes transpire. You just kind of start talking and it just unfolds, you know?
Yeah.
It's cool.
All right.
Thanks for coming out, Tommy.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks,
it.
Tommy. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed the episode. Often you will hear addicts referring to a specific 12-step program or rehab. These are personal stories. We do not represent any of the programs.